Hello and welcome to part 3 of the lecture series on chapter 7, the urinary system. In this part of the lecture series, we're going to talk about the terminology words pertaining to structures, substances, and urinary signs and symptoms. Okay, so here we go. Here, of course, you should be studying all of these, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight some of the ones I like here. Calio or caliso means calyx or cup shaped, and one medical word here would be calyceal, and calyceal here means pertaining to the calyx. We have meato, which means meatus. Okay, so there's one term here, urinary meatal stenosis. Urinary meatal stenosis means pertaining to a narrow opening of the urinary bladder to the ureter. Cysto here means sac. So cystitis here is the inflammation of a sac, but more particularly the inflammation of the urinary bladder. Now, in a bacterial infection is often cause acute or chronic cystitis. In acute cystitis, the bladder contains blood as a result of mucosal hemorrhage. You can see in this image, we do have an example of cystitis. Other terms here, nephro, which means kidney. Reno here also means kidney. And so you're wondering, how do I know when to use nephro or when to use reno or reno? Again, it's up to the field. So you're going to have to read your textbook. You're going to have to listen out there to see what's more prevalent in the field. Another combining here is nephro, which means kidney. As you already know, hydronephrosis is one medical term here, and that means condition of excess fluid or water in the kidneys. One example would be when you have an obstruction here, you have a type of stone that is blocking the drainage of urine from the renal pelvis straight down through the ureter. And the obstruction of urine flow may be caused by renal calculi or stones as shown in this figure. And notice that you have a buildup of excess fluid in the kidney. Uretero here means ureter, and urethro here means urethra. Vesico means urinary bladder, not to be confused with viscero. Okay, viscero here means organs or internal organs. Okay, so you want to be very careful do not confuse vesico with viscero, just because they start with a V, end with an O, and they have an ISC in it. It's just that the letters are kind of mixed up, so don't confuse those. Albumino here is albumin, which is a type of protein found in blood that helps to regulate the osmotic pressure in your blood system. For example, you might have little bits of water or a lot of water in your blood vessels. You have too much water, then you have high blood pressure. A lot of liquids are pressing out against the walls of those blood vessels, and it could pop. But if you have low blood pressure, then you have low amounts of liquids or water in your vessels, so therefore not causing them to pop, but making your blood much more viscous and thick. So albumino is that protein that helps regulate the amount of water that goes in and out of your blood, so it keeps it at a nice balance. You would never guess it, but azoto here means nitrogen. Okay, bacteria, of course, means bacteria. Bacteria is its plural form, just to remind you, versus bacterium is singular. There's one bacterium, many bacteria. Dipso means thirst. You also have keto or ketono, which means ketone bodies. And just for you organic chemists out there, you'll probably recall that ketones are this structure right over here. Do you recognize this? It looks very similar to that urea molecule that we had earlier. Remember, we had that amine, those two amine groups here. Okay, do you remember that? That's kind of like a ketone, but this is actually called an amide. Okay, this is an amide. But enough of that, we'll move on. Litho means stone. Nocto means night, like nocturia. What is nocturia? It is the abnormal condition of urinating at night. Oligo here means scanty. We'll talk more about that in another chapter. Pio here means pus. Uro, of course, means urea. And urino means, of course, urine. So that concludes the vocabulary section, part 3 of this lecture series. I hope that you've learned something from it. Let me know give me some comments or some suggestions. Until next time, I'll see you in the last part, or the next part actually, which is part 4 of the lecture series. I'll see you then.